Let's do the cast on again. Hi, and welcome back to the Gamer Crafting Podcast. This is episode 27. Let's do the cast on again. I did a little poll on Twitter about 30 minutes before I sat down to record, asking people whether I should talk about knitting and crocheting, Christmas gifts, or this, whatever this happens to be, and this is what won out, so you're all welcome. I sincerely hope that this is in focus. I have just spent 20 minutes arguing with my camera. The lighting in here in our apartment is not optimal. This is the main light source, but there's no way for me to position the camera so that the light is shining on me instead of behind me. I know that last week's podcast was a little bit dark. It's an evolving knowledge base, isn't it? I don't really have the room to have softbox lighting like some other podcasters do, or even in fact the big ring lights. Even the ones that collapse down, like we are at maximum capacity at Casa Gamer Crafting. There's just no room for anything else. So I'm doing my very best to find the best ways to record these podcasts. So hopefully you will notice marginal improvements week on week. I ended up ditching the green screen idea for the weekly podcast because I had some feedback from people who said that it hurt their eyes to look at it sometimes and it was difficult to see. So I might end up doing some of those again for some more fun things, but I'm gonna have to get more lighting for that to look the way that I want it to look and the way that I think all of you would prefer it to look as well. So as you can see, it is super dark. It's the middle of the day, not even. I think it's about 10:30 in the morning. It's dark, it's cold, it's windy. It's exactly the kind of weather that I am 100% here for. I'm even wearing my Star Trek hoodie. There's a big Starship Voyager on the back, like a big design. I'm just gonna show you. Captain Janeway forever. So I love this hoodie, but the zipper broke a few times after I wore it, which was honestly a huge bummer. So like I said, I do hope that this is in focus. I know a couple weeks ago there were some focus issues. I'm doing my best. I don't actually have tons of time to be spending on recording and lighting and everything. It's something that I'd love to have a bit more time for, but until some processes can get streamlined, here's what you're all stuck with. So I've got my fabulous red tartan leggings. I don't remember where I got them from, I'm sorry. My fabulous red tartan leggings, and I've got some hand knit socks on, and my Queer AF shirt, which I hope you can't see that I spilled toothpaste all over it this morning when I was brushing my teeth. I am forever the absolute epitome of grace and put togetherness. Definitely not just a complete mess like I actually am. And I've also got my compression gloves on. I bought a pack of, I think, 3 of these on eBay. I highly recommend them for any of you who struggle with carpal tunnel or arthritis, because it's something that my carpal tunnel is usually, it's not as bad when it's not as cold, which is ironic because I prefer colder weather. But once it starts getting cold, especially sitting at the computer, my wrist gets cold. So I highly recommend these. They aren't a heavy compression, it's a very light compression, so I can still knit, I can crochet, I can type with them on, and it feels a little bit different than not having them on, of course, but they're definitely by far the best I've found. And you can get them on Amazon as well. They just look like this. They're sold, they're probably mass produced, but you know, what are you gonna do? Last night, I had a dream. In this dream, I was sitting in a cafe and I was writing on my laptop and I was feeling really inspired. I was in the groove. I don't know what I was writing in my dream, but whatever it was amazing. I was feeling really inspired and I was drinking my bougie cafe coffee. It's kind of weird because cafe kind of sometimes means coffee. And this man came over to me and he said, "Oh, what are you writing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm writing this book. It's going to be my magnum opus and I'm so proud of what I've written. It's going to be like just amazing. I'm so proud of this book." And then he said, "Oh, what do you have on your shirt?" And in my dream, I was wearing a green shirt and there was like a white circle on it and it said, Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I said, "Oh, this is from my high school production of Rocky Horror. I'm so proud of it. I loved this production and I would never get rid of this shirt." Y'all, my high school never did Rocky Horror. I have never even been in a production of Rocky Horror. In all of my theatrical productions that I've been involved with one way or another, Rocky Horror has legit never been one of them. So I really don't know where my brain pulled this from, but it felt it necessary to also create a show t-shirt. I don't actually have any of my show t-shirts from high school anymore. They're, I don't know. Why would you? I wouldn't want to keep that. Who knows where they ended up over the years. I certainly don't still have any of them. That is for damn sure. So of course, once I woke up to the dulcet tones of my alarm going off, as you do, I immediately had time warp just stuck in my head, embedded so firmly into my brain that I couldn't get rid of it. I'm listening to other music, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to audiobooks. Nothing will dislodge the time warp music from my brain. It's just there, perpetually running in a loop in my head. So then I'm sitting at my desk and I'm thinking, what should I talk about on the podcast today? Should I talk about these new patterns that I think I'm gonna buy and or have bought? Should I talk about the stuff I'm working on? Should I talk about the yarn that I've been dyeing this week? Spoiler alert, the yarn I've been dyeing this week have all been club yarns, so I can't show them to you. If you want to see the club yarns, I highly suggest you sign up to the clubs. But that's basically all I've been dyeing this week, so I can't show you too much that's new. There is some fun new stuff that's cooking over there in the kitchen slash studio. It's more a studio than a kitchen at this point, if I'm honest with you. But I hope you all noticed that my hair was just doing something really weird there. There is some new stuff coming, but it's literally still cooking, so I can't show it to you from here. And also it's a surprise, so I'm not going to show it to you anyway. So then I'm sitting at my desk and I'm thinking, what should I talk about? And then I came up with, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if it was like the time warp, but with cast on instead of time warp? And it sounded really clever and funny in my head. And I guess 57% of the 7 people who took the poll on Twitter in the 20 minutes before I started recording also thought that it sounded more interesting than whatever else I was going to talk to you about today, which I guess I will talk to you about some other time instead. So let's do the cast on again. Let's think about, what are we casting on? What projects are we neglecting in order to cast on fun new things and abandon all of the other projects that we swore up and down we would definitely get done this year? So I used to be a monogamous knitter. I used to work on one project and only one project until it was done, and that was all. That was how it was. And I noticed that what I would do is if I got a little bit frustrated with the project, if I got bored with the project, I would just put it away. I would put it in the storage cupboard. I'd put it away in a tote bag and hang it on the back of the door with the millions of other tote bags that also hang off the back of the door, and just not knit for several weeks until I felt the kind of mojo come back. So a couple of years ago, I decided I'm not going to be a monogamous knitter anymore. I'm going to cast on whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like it, and we'll see how that works. It has worked with varying results, I have to tell you. I honestly don't think that I've gotten anything more completed. I definitely have more stuff around that I could pick up to take with me anywhere. I have more projects that I've started. I've definitely bought a lot more patterns, which I don't mind, actually. I like supporting the indie designers within our yarn community, especially the people who are doing a lot of work with size inclusivity. If you want to hear me rant a lot more about that, last week's podcast is where you want to be. I like supporting the indie dyers and designers in this community, so I don't mind that I've bought more patterns than I used to. In fact, I think it's a good thing. So I'm going to show you the projects that I am neglecting in the desperate hopes that I get to cast on something new today from the list I will share with you in just a few minutes. So first up is obviously my Nihilist Rainbow Blanket Club blanket. Here it is. This is part of it. I have done more than this. I'm not going to pull it all out though because it's getting rather large. It's definitely, it becomes not a portable project at one point if you're trying to do everything join as you go, which I am, because I know that if I did all these strips separately, there's no way on God's green earth I would ever sit down and sew them all up without either bribes or blackmail. So I am a little bit behind on this blanket. What I need to do is I just need to sit down and I need to watch it. I need to just binge my way through some series or something. I've gotten no knitting done this week actually because I've been up late every night twisting and labeling and packing orders, which is fine. It's fine. I don't mind that. I'm just saying that there's only so many hours in a day that I'm able to knit, and I haven't gotten much work done, but I want to be able to finish it so I can show you all what it looks like if you wanted to take part in the 2020 Blanket Club, and signups for that will be opening very soon, and spots are limited on that, and you sign up at the beginning of the year and then you will get 2 different skeins of yarn every month and in whatever weight you choose until the end of the year, and then at the end of the year you'll have hopefully made a blanket, or you'll at least have the yarn to make a blanket. So I am a little bit behind, but I'm doing mine in chunky weight, so I'm hoping that I will be able to catch up a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you, I knew starting off that there's no way I would finish a blanket that was in, you know, 4-ply or DK, so I straight up went for the chunky weight, but I really like it. It's nice. It's gonna be a nice giant gay blanket. I'm showing you the wrong side of this, I've just realized. There you go. This is the northeasterly blanket pattern, by the way. I decided it would be good for this kind of project. So I might neglect this in hopes that I will cast on something new. I've also been neglecting my Half Moon tee, which I was determined I was going to finish in October and be able to wear it in October because it's, you know, sort of spooky and dark and sparkly, and that didn't happen, so I kind of abandoned it, and it's been sitting. I haven't worked on it since October. since I figured out that I was not going to finish it in October, it was sort of banished, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll finish it for next October because it's 4-ply and it's a crop top and it's short sleeve, and I'm like, I'm probably not gonna wear it in the winter. Maybe I should just wait. I don't know. I mean, it's a lovely pattern. I'm enjoying making it. I'm on to the part now where you just knit for a while, plain knitting. But I've abandoned it. It's been abandoned in this lovely, super excellent project bag. This is why we all buy project bags, so that we can hide things and not feel guilty. I love this project bag, by the way. It's by Amelia X Joy, but I don't know if she uses this fabric anymore. Isn't it nice? Let's talk about my biggest neglected pattern that I started. I started this a long time ago, last spring, maybe? I don't actually know when I started this. It has been sitting next to me. I don't know how y'all's couches work, but mine basically works human knitting. My couch is like half taken up by just the blanket right now because it's too big to even fit in a tote bag, and other projects, and there's a camera bag sitting there, and there's no room for Sarah. It's fine. She can sit at the desk. She's fine. She's fine. So I started this ages and ages ago, and I still really want to make it, but this is as far as I've gotten on the Volt sweater. That's the one by Sue Strafford with the big lightning bolt on it. Hutch from Dye Candy uses it as a sample, I do believe, when she goes to yarn shows. It's a gorgeous sweater, and I think that I'm going to absolutely love it when I'm done with it, whenever the hell that is. I've done the ribbing on one side of it. I think this is the front side, yeah. I've done the ribbing, and then after the ribbing you sort of start the intarsia charts. I'm gonna be honest with you, I suck at intarsia. In fact, I was telling Lola from Third Vault Yarns that this morning. I have never done an intarsia project that I didn't really hate the look of when I was done. And yes, I've watched so many YouTube videos on how to do intarsia correctly, like how to make sure that, you know, the stitches are wrapped correctly and that you don't end up with holes, but I'll be honest, mine always just end up looking like it's been dragged through a street, run over with several large pieces of construction equipment. So that's as far as I've gotten on the Volt sweater. It has been in this state for at least 6 months with just this like 1.5 inches of ribbing. I am using my own hand-dyed yarns for this. This is Om Nom Berry, and I will be pairing it with Catra and Ectoplasm, which are like the yarns all died and balled up. And it's just been sitting here on the couch for like 6 months, willing me to pick up the chart, which is also sitting on the couch, and just do it. And yet I've been avoiding it in favor of other projects because I don't have a lot of faith in my ability to do Intarsia and have it not look terrible. I need to get over myself. I need to do the thing. Fair Isle, cool, I'm here. I've conquered Fair Isle. Cables, great. I will do traveling cables. I will travel across the world with traveling cables. I'm fine. Cables are fine. Fair Isle is fine. I'm still not mastered steeking yet either. It terrifies me, even though, I don't know, I can't do it. I'm too clumsy and accident prone, and I feel like steeking would go badly for me. But I'm hoping that Intarsia can be better. I just need to like get over myself and just do it. And finally, these aren't all the projects that I have on the go, by the way. These were just the ones that happen to be out here. There's a few more that I haven't worked on in so long that they've been banished to the back of the closet. Banished. So I started this, I don't know, not super long after the pattern came out, so whenever that was. It hasn't been a year yet. I don't think it's been a year yet. It might have been a year. This is the For Fox Sake sweater. I just want to make sure I'm not about to like yank 10 million stitches out, which is a very me thing to do. This is the For Fox Sake sweater. So it's little foxes with eyeglasses, and it's super cute. I fell in love with it when I saw, I think Books and Cables made one on Instagram. Books and Cables made one on Instagram, and I saw her wearing it, and I was like, what? I need that. So I've gotten to the thing is that this has taken me, this represents an absolute, pardon my French, ass load of work. This, on most of the rounds, it's 3 color work, which I hadn't done before, and took me quite a long time to do each round. Each round took me, you know, like an hour. So this is already several days, full days worth of knitting. And I'm to the point now where I think I have about, I'm past the little foxy faces. I think I have about somewhere between 5 and 7 rounds of this color work left. And then it's separating for the sleeves, and then just plain knitting to the bottom, and then the sleeves, etc. And I had sort of thought about maybe doing something on the sleeves, like down towards the cuffs. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, abandoned. Haven't worked on this in months. I should though. I should just at least finish the color work chart by the end of the year. I could probably do that, right? So as I was sitting at my desk last night or the day before, whenever that was, time is a construct, as I do frequently say on this podcast, I was sitting at my desk and I was thinking, you know, I would love to start thinking about the things that I would love to make in 2020. Ignoring, of course, the fact that I already have tons of stuff that I would already like to get done in 2020 that definitely isn't going to be done in 2019, because we are rapidly approaching the end of the year here. And I came across a pattern on Instagram called the Witching Hour, and she describes it as a swancho. I don't super love the word swancho. It sounds weird to me, and it feels weird in my mouth. Swancho. Fine. The point is that it's got quite, you know, sort of, I guess, normally tailored sleeves, like close-fitting sleeves, and then it's really sort of like open in the body. So most people, I suppose, would probably wear it over something else, the way you would a poncho. It's got bird skulls on it. It's super cool. It's graded up to, I think the largest size is a 65 or a 70-inch bust, which is super size inclusive, hurrah. And given how much I really loved the positive ease of the Vinterskov sweater that I showed off in last week's podcast, the one by Carrie Westerman, given how much I loved that sweater once I was done with it, I was super scared of it when I was knitting it, and I kept thinking, I'm not gonna like this. I'm gonna think that, you know, I look like a, you know, circus tent. I mean, it is neon green. I did make that choice. That is a choice that I made for myself. But I finished it and I loved it so much, and I love how it feels and I love how it looks. So I feel like maybe 2020 I play around with, you know, getting more comfortable with positive ease garments and saying to hell with the like fashion rules for fatties. I'm gonna wear whatever the hell I want. Maybe what I really want to wear is bird skulls, right? So I bought the pattern. I just bought it instantly. I saw it on Instagram. I was sitting at my desk looking at my phone, which is definitely what you do when you're trying to be productive. Sitting at your desk is scroll through Instagram on your phone. I immediately went to Ravelry. I looked at the pattern. I saw the sizing that was available. I looked at the yarn requirements. It's a DK weight pattern, which is good because I need to stop with the 4-ply sweaters. They take me too long. Saw that it was DK, saw the sizes that were available, and I was like, yes, I need this. Bought it immediately. And then I went back on Instagram, and so many people are either showing off or knitting the very popular Cold as Fuck mittens by Drunk Girl Designs. I forgot to mention the Witching Hour Swancho is by, she's Dear Ingenue on Ravelry and also on Instagram. So the Cold as Fuck mittens are by Drunk Girl Designs, and I've seen so many people with them, and every year I think, oh, I want those. Those are fun. I totally want to spend an absolute immense amount of time knitting mittens on teeny tiny needles with a really beautiful chart that I don't usually mess up charts. The point is that they would take me quite a significant chunk of time, and so I feel like I'm gonna finish this podcast and I'm gonna go buy the pattern, because maybe this is the year that I start some mittens that will be finished approximately by 2025. I was also thinking I really like knitting hats, especially in like a nice DK weight. They knit up fast, and then you can think, yeah, I finished a hat. I finished a thing. One of the things that I have finished this year is indeed a DK weight hat, and it's the brioche kitty hat. It was the only time I've ever knitted brioche, and I super love the texture. However, I did it with the carry along of like a mohair sort of fluffy yarn. I used my Monster Floof yarn base for that, along with a DK merino, and it's so warm that I can wear it for about 2 seconds before my head threatens to light itself on fire, you know, like Hades in Hercules.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
So I love knitting hats. I love especially knitting hats in DK, and I really like knitting hats like sort of when it starts to get a bit colder, when it's like, ooh, it's a bit chilly when you get out of bed in the morning and you know, rush to put on your fluffy socks and you rush to grab your hoodie. And this year, I don't know. I would love to make a hat, but I've not seen any hats necessarily that have struck me with such force that I know that I have to make it. Last year, I made the beeswax hat by Amy Vandelar, and made it with my Not the Bees colorway, and I made it for me, but I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert. It's not me who ended up with that hat. It was Sarah who stole my hat, and then she looked so much cuter in it that I couldn't say no. Mind you, this is after she told me that she wanted a taupe hat and picked the colors green and orange, not colors that I would necessarily pick to go together, but okay. And I made a taupe hat, but by the time I finished the taupe hat, she'd already soul bonded with with the beeswax hat, and there was no getting it back. So I haven't decided whether I'm gonna give the taupe, because I did end up just keeping that one for myself, and I do love it. It's beautifully constructed, just not necessarily colors I would have chosen for myself. So maybe I will give the taupe hat another season. Perhaps the taupe needs another season to be shown off. Showed off? Yes, showed off. But then I don't know, maybe I want to make another hat. Maybe it's like, you know, 'tis the season for hats. I'm sorry if you can hear all that landscaping crap going on outside. I put off filming for 3 hours because there was leaf blowers and lawnmowers outside, and I was thinking, it's November. Can we stop trying to win the battle against the leaves? It's not gonna happen. Mother Nature will always have more leaves. Stop. Enough. So I was looking around and I was looking at some hat patterns, and I discovered a hat pattern called the Beanie Bunny, and that's by designer Valentina Grishna. I can't actually read my writing here. Valentina Grishna, and it's a lot of ribbing. I like the fit of it, and it's got like little flappies that go down over your ears, because I figure, what's the point of a hat if your ears are gonna end up cold anyway? But I don't know if I'm here for that much ribbing. It's a lot of ribbing, which makes for a hat that fits really well, but also I don't know that I really want to knit quite that much ribbing. So I will say, if you have a hat pattern that you love and it's in a DK weight, just like drop it. Drop a link down in the comments. Even if you're the one who designed said hat, it's cool. Drop it in the comments. I'm here for it. Inspire me with your hats. I want to see your hats, please. Anyway, so I was talking about projects that I had neglected, and there's other just whole crafts that I feel like I've neglected for most of 2019. I have hardly crocheted this year. I think the times I've touched that my crochet hooks the most have been when I'm rescuing stitches that have laddered down on my knitting projects. And let's not even talk about the fact that I have done 0 spinning this year. Actually, I think I spun maybe 1 yard using I bought the eel wheel, but I bought the first one, so it's wood, not the shiny new plastic ones. It's a wood one and it's great, but I'm not very good at spinning, so I sort of struggled a little bit with it, and in true me fashion, if I'm not immediately excellent at something, I feel like everything is terrible and everything I touch turns to dust and dies, which is, not like a super healthy mindset, but I feel like a lot of us are there. So I've done no spinning this year. I've hardly done any crochet. In fact, I'm actually struggling to think if I actually did any actual projects that were crocheted this year. I can't actually remember. And to be honest, those are just the fiber crafts that I have neglected this year. Let's not even talk about the other crafts that I enjoy. I really enjoy paper craft sometimes. I enjoy other things crafty. I told myself that 2019 would be the year that I learned how to sew, and I bought a bunch of fabric, and I had these grand visions of learning to sew and making myself more project bags out of the amazing fabric that I bought on Spoonflower. They're mermaids and they're knitting and it's cool. And that didn't happen. I had a couple of false starts with the sewing machine that I have. It's one of those really small ones. It doesn't do very much. I had a couple of false starts with it and I got frustrated. I got frustrated and abandoned it. So I haven't done really any sewing this year, even though I decided this was going to be the year that I learned how to sew properly, and then I would learn, how to do alterations to make clothes that fit my body, because as you'd see in last week's absolute rant fest about clothing, I've been having a hard time. So I mean, why do we do this to ourselves? Why are we forever starting new things and not finishing other things we've started? I think, well, for me personally, that it's this energy potential of creating something new. You find a pattern and you imagine it in the colors you want to make it in. You imagine yourself wearing said thing or using said thing if it's not a wearable. And this creative potential just really sparks a lot of creative energy and enthusiasm and excitement. And then sometimes you just don't have enough energy and excitement to carry that on through to the finish line. You get distracted by something new and shiny. We can all be a bit, magpie-ish when it comes to knitting or new yarn or new patterns, as has been my thing this year. I've bought more new patterns this year than I think I've bought in the last 5 years combined, which again is fine. I have the little bit of extra money to spend on buying patterns that I will someday knit, and I enjoy supporting the independent designers of the community, so that's fine. I am not complaining about the number of patterns I've bought. I'm just using that as a reference. I will say though that this amount of creative energy, it can be difficult, right? There's only 24 hours in a day, and that's, if most of us sleep. Well, I hope you sleep. We all need sleep, and then you have to factor in, you have to work, and there's other obligations, either to other family members or to yourself, and then there's trying to cook meals that are nourishing for you and or your family and all these other things. And at the end of the day, there's not enough creative time in the day. Can we just have a few extra hours in the day that are just dedicated just to creating, whether it's knitting or whether it's making a podcast, whether it's learning to sew or writing a book, which is something else that I've spent a lot of time doing this month with regards to NaNoWriMo, which has been hard fitting that in alongside everything else. Pairing that with pairing not having enough time with also being a slow knitter, it really grates at me sometimes. Not being able to be like, hey, remember this cool thing I told you about? I finished it and here's the finished thing. Instead I have all of these half and quarter and eighth and 1/25th finished things that are sitting in project bags at the edge of my couch. waiting for me to have either more time or to become a faster knitter. And I know that there's ways to become a faster knitter, and I'm not super great. I feel like I'm never going to be a fast knitter even if I find other methods, due to things like carpal tunnel, due to things like not really being that focused. So combining two of those things, I just feel like I'm never going to be able to get everything done and finished that I want to. So maybe I need to ease off being so much a product knitter and sort of enjoy being a process knitter, enjoy the rhythm and the process of making things. I don't know. I don't know if that really fits in with my personality. I will say though that my my anxieties and angst over being a slow knitter did lead me to ask Sarah to design a pin badge for slow knitters. And here it is. I hope that that's in focus. I realize that it's against my face. Sorry. So this is the Slow Knitter Sloth Glitter Enamel Pin. And the art was by Sarah. And pre-orders are still up if you want to order this and the other dragon design, which is not within arm's reach. Wait, I'm just gonna get it. So these are the two new pin badge designs. Again, I really hope that that's in focus. It's hard to tell in this small monitor window. If you wanted to order both of them, then you'll save £5 if you order both of them, but pre-orders will close as we are expecting the rest of the shipment to come in very soon, along with the backing cards, which are brand new, and look, they're really cool. I can't bring that in closer, it'll be so these are the new backing cards and I'm really excited about them. And I think we are also going to get these designs printed onto small zipped project bags like the other ones that we have, and I think that will be really cool too. Anyway, so that's the new exciting stuff for this week, is the pins and the backing cards for the pins, which is really exciting. Next week, the podcast will be released a little bit earlier than usual. As most of you may know, next week is Thanksgiving, as I am an American, even though I don't live there and haven't even been there in 7.5 years. I love Thanksgiving. It has a lot of problematic origins, I will admit that straight out of the gate. But for me, it's an excuse to get together with friends and family and eat loads of food. I always over cater, but I feel like I get that from my mom, who always wanted to make sure that nobody ever went hungry if somebody showed up extra to Thanksgiving, which happened a lot when I was a kid. And it was always fine because there was always extra food. So because the UK is not the US and people here do not have time off for Thanksgiving, I decided that we would do Thanksgiving the Sunday beforehand. So it's actually only a few days from now, and I have a turkey defrosting in my refrigerator. I have a turkey defrosting in my refrigerator. I had looked into getting an organic free-range turkey and they are like 100 pounds. If you needed any more proof that sustainable, clean eating is only for rich people, then there you go. There you have it. So we will be doing Thanksgiving actually on Sunday, and I will be filming like what I'm making and how I'm making it, etc. and how I'm making sure that everyone has something to eat, with various vegetarian, vegan friends, people who have food intolerances or allergies, etc. But it's going to be just kind of a fun food romp, I guess. It's an excuse for me to see what my camera can really do in terms of filming like things really nice close-up macro shots. It's an excuse for me to do that, so I hope you all indulge me. But I will be filming for that this weekend, and then I will hopefully get the podcast up either on Monday or Tuesday next week, which is a couple of days before actual Thanksgiving, because I figured if I put it up on Thursday, people probably will be with their, well, American viewers will be with their families, and they won't want to be, they're not going to actually want to be watching a podcast about somebody else's Thanksgiving, and then once Thanksgiving is over, it's over. No one's going to watch it then either. So I figured that this is kind of just a good all around way to do it. Also, I wanted to announce that we will be participating in Vlogmas in December. Vlogmas is basically you do like a little vlog every day until the end of the month, basically. So we won't be doing long form. You're not going to be getting 40-minute podcasts or vlogs to watch every day, because that's excessive, and I wouldn't have time to film and edit that every day in December. I have far more things that need attention than just sitting in front of the camera and yapping at you about various things. So Vlogmas will be uploading, hopefully I'll be uploading one every day. It's going to kind of depend a little bit on Wi-Fi towards the beginning of the month and time towards the end of the month. But the first few days I will be with a friend of mine, and so I will be vlogging about that and the sort of sightseeing that we're going to be doing, and I will also be doing some other fun stuff throughout the month. But each vlog's probably only going to be like 15-20 minutes. They're not going to be super long, because who's got time to watch that who wants to watch me every day in December? Probably not many of you, and I accept that, and it's fine. It's a good mutual relationship. But watch out for that in a couple of weeks. Actually, it's not very long, is it? It's coming up real fast. Yikes. So again, thank you for watching the podcast. I sincerely hope that this was all at least sort of in focus. I'll find out in a few minutes when I go to edit this. I really wish that I had like a larger monitor way to look at this while I was filming it, but I don't at current, so yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. In any case, thank you for watching. We will be back on Saturday for our regular Saturday night live stream. We will be playing part 2 of The Shape-Shifting Detective, which is a murder mystery with a little bit of sort of supernatural elements in there, and it was really fun last week, and we will be playing part 2 this week. And as I said, next week there will be a sort of Thanksgiving themed regular length pre-recorded podcast. And then in December we will be participating in Vlogmas. We will be doing, well, I will be doing the regular long length podcast once a week as normal, and that will take place of the vlogs on those days, because I don't really have time to be doing both in a day, and why would you want to watch both anyway? I'm probably gonna be saying the same thing anyway. Anyway, that's the news. That's the gossip about gamer crafting. It's not really gossip. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you back here next week. Please do like and subscribe if you are a brand new member, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye!